Welcome to LMC Media and Community Conversation. Today, Mayor Tom Murphy of the Village of Mamaroneck. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Michael, for having me on.
You're welcome, and you're no stranger to LMC Media, and we're here to talk about affordable housing, correct?
Yes, sir.
What do we mean by affordable?
Affordable housing is a term of law too. In most of Westchester County, there's an AMI, a median income, right? And usually, if a developer is building affordable housing, they look to use the 80% mark of AMI. But the 80% mark of AMI is still pretty high. It could exclude a lot of people. People making $60,000, $50,000, $40,000 a year are excluded under that, and they can't afford it. The idea is to spend 30% of your income on housing, and we have a large fraction of people in this community, up to 40%, who are housing poor, in the sense that they're spending 40, 50, 60% of their income on housing. And sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask, right now, we're not under any mandate, are we?
No, we are not under any mandate from the federal government or from the state. I think the state is eventually going to put requirements on building more housing. I think that they kicked the can down the road this year, but they're not going to kick the can down the road forever. So I think it behooves us to get ahead of the ball, in my view.
Yes. The village board rezoned some areas, and I think the parking area across from the old village hall,
right,
the police station and the courthouse, that's the site you're most excited about.
That is. That's called the Hunter Lot. It's a two-tiered parking lot that was built in the late 80s. It's been falling apart probably since the early 2000s. We've been doing patchwork repairs on it. There's whole sections where people can't park their car because the ceiling is unstable.
Oh,
so that is an eyesore to begin with, but it's a piece of land that the village controls. And the real problem with affordable housing and getting affordable housing built is the price of land around here. So that was zoned R5, which is the least dense zone. And we rezoned it to C2, which is contiguous to it. There's C2 behind it, there's C2 on the side of it. So it really didn't change the character of the neighborhood. And what we want to see done there is we want to see parking garage rebuilt, and on top of the parking garage, put affordable housing. And we are going to put out an RFP, a request for proposals, so that the village isn't doing this. We're going to have a developer who does nothing but all affordable. It's going to be all affordable.
wow.
And, so we could reach down to people who were at the 60%, the 50%, the 40%, the administrative assistant who's just starting out, people just getting out of college, on beginner jobs making 40 or 50,000, or DPW workers who begin a lot of times making $40,000. We want to keep the people in the community who built this community, their children who built this community, senior citizens who are now living on fixed income, who really can't afford their houses anymore. We'd like to see them remain in the community. And we always talk about and tout our diversity here in the Village of Mamaroneck, and that's a very good thing. And we are diverse. We're ethnically diverse. We're economically diverse. Yeah. But that will not remain unless we take tangible action to ensure that it remains. Because, as you know, Mike, you've lived here a while. I've lived here a while. The price of housing has skyrocketed in the past 25, 30 years. Houses that used to be owned by people in the building trades are now owned by people, lawyers, people who are stockbrokers, people who are investment bankers.
Yes.
So the community has changed, and we welcome the newcomers, but we also want to see this be the community that it always was, welcoming to every group of people that makes it a vibrant community where everybody looks out for each other.
Now, we already do have some, I guess it's subsidized housing. I mean, I know the senior project across from the train station. right? And
Yes,
then,
we have that, but that isn't controlled by the community. That is, it's still affordable housing, but it's not directly controlled by people in the community anymore. There's an outside firm that runs it. The Washingtonville Housing Line still has a lot of units, that were built and put into places like the Avalon and the Regatta. They're not affordable anymore.
yeah,
The affordability has worn off. So there were opportunities for affordability when the Regatta was built, and that is now aged out. So if you bought in the Regatta at an affordable rate, you could now sell it at the market rate. And the market rate in the Regatta is pretty formidable, actually. Those aren't cheap.
will a developer look for incentives, and who will give them the incentives?
Yeah, they get tax incentives from the federal government to do it. They get encouragement financially from the state to do it. And the good thing about this is, after what we're going to ask is, after this is built, we don't want to run the housing, right? We don't want that. We want someone who's going to develop it and then run it.
Mhm.
And I grew up in affordable housing. I grew up in the mutual redevelopment houses on 25th Street and 9th Avenue. And it was very well run. It was clean. It was safe. It was affordable for my family. And because of the affordability for my family, it enabled my parents to save money to send their kids to college.
Mhm.
So that gave us a leg up in life. And I'd like to see other people have that opportunity and have the chance to move up the social ladder, which is what we were all promised when we were kids, Mike, right? You work hard, you do what you're supposed to do, you move up in the world. But that's much more difficult to attain for the generation coming up today than it was for us.
Do you think there may be some pushback? I mean, the people's general impression of subsidized housing or affordable housing may be different than what you experienced, what I experienced. What
I
can you
think
say to those people?
I think that there's gonna be pushback, and we need to educate people, and we need to have rational discussions based upon facts. I know people are concerned about schools, and I'm concerned about schools too. But the vast data shows that affordable housing does not affect schools in an impactful way. People are concerned about flooding, but right now we have a parking lot that contributes to flooding, because all of the water that falls on that parking lot goes right into the river without any remediation. Any new building will have much more remediation. So yes, there's going to be pushback, and some of it's going to be legitimate concerns that could be worked out in the planning process. And some of it will be just reflexively people playing a zero-sum game. What I mean by that is, well, somebody else is getting something. Why aren't I getting something?
Do you think you could achieve a green building?
I think that's the goal, without a doubt. We want to see roof gardens. We want to see retention of the stormwater in the building. We want to see solar panels on the roof. We want to see it LED certified, without a doubt.
That sounds very exciting. What are the next steps?
Exciting.
What are the
And
next steps?
I'm sorry, what's sir?
I said the next steps.
The next steps is we're getting together a request for proposals. We'll send a request for proposals out. Developers will then answer that RFP, and we will decide, which is most advantageous to the community, based upon, criteria of, number of units, water retention, parking, impact on the schools.
Mhm.
And then it'll go through a rigorous planning process where, people can have more input, and, the plan could be massaged.
I'm just wondering if there's input that you're looking for some of the existing committees in the village, or maybe a new committee.
Well, you know what, I think that right now the committee that's most important in reviewing this is the Board of Trustees. We have to do our due diligence, and we have to make sure that we get the best opportunity for the village to have smart growth that keeps our community a diverse, vibrant place where families want to come. When you talk to people who moved here, and one of the reasons they moved here, a lot of times, is they say it's our diversity.
Yeah.
And our diversity is our strength. But I truly believe that that diversity won't be here in 20 years if we don't do something to level the economic playing field of housing.
And this will be the first affordable housing that's been built in several years, right?
In a long time. I think the last one that got built was 726 Old White Plains Road by the Washingtonville Housing Alliance. And that was probably, I don't know, like maybe 04, 05. Turn of the century, Mike.
Okay. If people want to know more about this proposal, where do they go?
We will have information up on the village website. And they could just, go to Google and put in Village of Mamaroneck and the website will pop up.
Okay. And as you know, LMC Media would be happy to help get information out to the community. So feel free to call.
But I appreciate this opportunity.
Well, I want to thank you for spending a few minutes today to talk about affordable housing, the Hunter parking lot idea, and just the idea of maintaining the diversity in the village with some new housing opportunities.
Thank you very much, Michael. It's always a pleasure.
Same here.